Welcome to Secrets of a Seven-Figure Coach, the podcast for coaches, consultants, and creative entrepreneurs who want to hit between $100K and $1 million in annual revenue. I'm Beck Keane, your host and business mentor. On this podcast, I'm sharing the mindset, strategy, and energetics required to create a multi-six-figure business and beyond. Before becoming a coach, I grew 3 successful businesses. I'm an award-winning business owner who built and exited $1 million consulting firm and an industry-leading app that won awards back in 2016. And that all happened before I started my own coaching business, which has since generated over $2 million in lifetime revenue in part-time hours. I'm taking you behind the scenes from my very first 10K month to my very first 100K month. I'll also bring in coaches and consultants who have scaled their own coaching businesses so you can learn real-world tools and strategies from others who have walked the path. If you are a coach, consultant, or creative entrepreneur looking to 2 to 4x your revenue while also having an incredibly rich personal life, this podcast is for you. Hello, hello. Welcome, dear one. In today's podcast, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes into my very first 100K month as a coach. The first thing I want to share with you, let's call it a secret. It's that it took me longer than a month to do 100K. It was actually 40 days. So maybe that makes you think, oh, she didn't have a 100K month. And that's fine. That's fair. Like, I totally get that. And also, the reason I'm calling it a 100K month is to demonstrate how we can really hold ourselves back and sabotage our own goals when we are fiercely committed to a timeline. And so one of the lessons from my very first 100K month is that releasing your attachment to the timeline, releasing the way in which something needs to come to you, the way that money is going to flow into your world, and the timing of that money is so important. And one of the rooms I have gotten myself into in the last 6 months has been this incredible mastermind where I have been exposed to women who are consistently doing 100K months, coaches, consultants, healers, and some of them are even doing $1 million months. And one of the things that they talk about, which I have really taken to heart and listened and try to embody into my own soul, is they shared that the shifts happened when they least expected it. And so the women inside this mastermind that I have been so lucky to be a part of, well, let's call it lucky. It was a choice. I chose to put myself in that room. And, I invested in myself in that way because I could see that surrounding myself with other go-getters, with visionaries, with powerhouses, with ambitious coaches who are all doing really what I want to be doing, whether they're on their way or they're already there, air quotes, there, wherever that is. I knew that I needed to get myself inside a room where my mind would be expanded, where I would see potential and possibility for myself. Because, like, let's be really honest, staring at your own MacBook screen and plugging away at things solo is not going to get you there. We really have to expose ourselves and surround ourselves with other people who think bigger than us, who think differently than us, because we are capped by our conditioning. We have these limits placed on us through our minds, through our egos, through the conditioning that we've been exposed to, as children growing up, as well as generationally. Some of this stuff can be carried through our cells and our genes. And if you want to study more about this, you can Google epigenetics. And so if you want to shift and you want to step into your next level and you want to make more money and you want to do bigger, braver, bolder things, then exposing yourself to other high level thinkers, to bigger conversations, to having a coach. I mean, there's a reason why people have coaches, why athletes and top performers, singers, artists, business people, like there's a reason we have coaches. It's because coaches help us expand, and being in rooms with other people expand you. Obviously, being in the right rooms of the people who you would like to be expanded by. So people who have done what you want to do or who are well on their way. Anyway, so it was being inside one of these rooms where women were talking about how when they released the need to, and something that I talk a lot about is when we are grippingly attached to something, whether it's money or clients or some specific outcome, when we place this need to get something, to have something, we actually subconsciously or unconsciously tell our nervous systems, our subconscious mind, our unconscious mind, we give ourselves the message that that thing is a threat to the system because we've placed this huge weighted importance. And so we kind of go into this like stress repel response where the very thing we are trying to achieve, manifest, create is now being repelled because of the weight we have put on that thing. And so my message to you as it relates to this conversation is to think about the attachments that you have placed on your goals, to your money goals, to your time-based goals. And if you can work on releasing those attachments, that's where the fun comes in. And so when I thought about going for my first 100K month, which by the way, even that thought was created because I had been exposed to other coaches, some of whom I'll have on this podcast in future episodes, who were doing these 100K months or more. And it completely expanded me. I was like, wait a sec, they can do that? Okay, if they can do that, then why can't I do that? Like, why am I thinking small here? Why am I thinking 40, 50K months? Like, why am I not doubled down on the energy of 100K or more? Like, let's freaking go. And so I started to really just tune and tap into the energy and the frequency of 100K month as a possibility. But I wasn't coming at it from the energy of I need to, I have to, I better. I wasn't coming at it with the energy of if I don't hit it, then I suck, then I'm a failure. And so as I went for this first 100K month as a goal, it was with this light, playful energy. It was like, wouldn't it be so freaking fun if I could do 100K this month? Well, towards the end of that month, I was at about 66,000 US dollars. And to have 100K month in Canadian dollars, I needed to do about 80,000. So I was 14,000 away from my goal at the end of the month. There was no part of me that was like, oh, you didn't do it. Oh, you should slow down. Oh, you're not worthy. Oh, look, you're a failure. No, I was just like, okay, so this is amazing. I did 66,000 or whatever the number was in 30 days. Like, so we need a little bit more time. That's okay. I'm unattached. I am not attached to the timeline of this money coming in. And it was exactly 40 days where I had clocked 84,000 US, and using a conversion of about 1.35, I think that's about 113,000 Canadian dollars. So it took a little longer than expected. And I did not make that mean anything about me, anything about my goals, anything about who I am or what I am capable of. So some of the things that I would love for you to think about as number one. Ooh, let's back up here. Like, number one, expand your freaking goals. Okay. Now, here's the thing, because a lot of people are afraid to do this. They're afraid to expand their goals because they're attached to some fear of if their goal doesn't happen. They're afraid of feeling some kind of way about if their goal doesn't happen. So you need to move through that fear. You need to normalize being and feeling some kind of way about something. Like, if it were okay for you to feel disappointed, or if it were okay for you to feel whatever it is, let down, then what? Then would you go after your goal? It's when we say it's not okay for me to feel disappointed. It's not okay for me to feel not worthy. It's not okay for me to feel not enough. And ironically, and I so need to do an episode about this. It's when we embrace the very feelings that we are afraid to feel that we can then go for our next level. And so there's a really incredible book, Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I'll put it in the links here. 10x is easier than 2x. There's another author. Anyway, I'll put the link in the show notes. And he talks about expanding your goals and how it's less about hitting the goal, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's about who you become along the way. And I hadn't actually listened to his podcast or read his book at the time where I went for this expanded goal, but I just started to think about, like, what if I played a lot bigger than I've been playing and I let it be really fun? So what would happen to you who's listening, whatever your goal is? I mean, number one, what would happen if you 2x'd it, 4x'd it, 5x'd it, 10x'd it? What if you really went for it? Who would you need to become along the way in order to get there? Who would you be? What would you sell? What thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions would that version of you embody? What would your offers look like? How frequently would you sell? How much fun could you have doing this? And that was the energy that I went into that month, where I was going after my very first 100K month, which we now know was 40 days. I'd had a really incredible few months leading up to it. I was riding a little bit on this energy of, like, wow, this is really shifting. This is changing. This is happening. Everything is flowing. I'm having the time of my life. I was also in this period of, and I've said it, but I'm going to really say it again. Like, I was in this period of being wildly creative, wildly expanded, having the time of my life with my offers. And so when we look at the breakdown of the numbers, I was, I mean, okay, so we had, over the course of 40 days, we had 72 sales transactions. Now, I can't remember how many of those were new customers, but a bunch of those were new customers. We were also selling. So the things that we were selling at the time, and I say we as in my business, although really it's me. And then I have a small team who supports me in the background. So I've got an admin person who supports me. And then I have some contractors, like a designer, sometimes a copywriter, obviously bookkeeping and stuff on contract. But it's essentially, when I say we, I mean me. And also I have other incredible humans who support me, because honestly, like, I'm not here to do anything by myself. I want to be focused on my gifts and my vision and what I'm really good at. And then I want to get support with the areas that I'm not that great at, that slow me down. And that's what helps me create these higher revenue months, is because I'm not doing everything by myself. Anyway, we were selling a program called Make Bank, which was, as far as I remember, it was like a 4-day masterclass series where I was walking people through how to have your best year ever. So it was really like a beginning of the year program, a Kickstarter program. And that offer, it was priced at $333. might have started at 222, and then I tend to raise my prices the closer I get to the start date of the program. So it might have started at 222, it went to 333, and that offer sold really well. It was well timed with the season. It was the start of a year. People wanted to kick off. I was walking people through really my process, my strategy, my framework, which includes sales, offers, client attraction, as well as this embodied, energetic, like, be this energetic match for the people that you want to attract, be the version of you that you need to be to operate at your next level. And this is when the clients will come and the money will come and the energy will all flow. So it's, my work is very much a mix of like energy, mindsets, the soul, inner work, and also just being like strategic, having offers that are really well matched with your gift, that your audience is connected with, having a simple client attraction strategy. So we really blend like the soul and the strategy, or the spiritual and the strategy, however you want to think about it. So we were selling Make Bank. I was also pre-selling a masterclass that was coming up the next month, a masterclass on how to run a 100K mastermind. And so those two offers were selling, and I call those my, a mini offer or a smaller offer, a micro offer, however you want to call that. And then I also have offers which sell in the background, like the sales remedy, which is $37. Some of this will be linked in the show notes if you want to check them out. So I have a mix of these live offers that I'm doing. The Make Bank offer at the time, which was this 4-day masterclass, this other masterclass that I was doing. And then I have digital offers, which are on my website, which people can buy at any time. Hashtag, like, by the way, listen up, people. None of this was built in one foul swoop. I've been here since, in the online space since 2016, and this has all been built over time. I started building my offers from the bottom up. I started selling high ticket one-to-one coaching. Then I moved into high ticket masterminds. Then I added group programs. Then I added masterclasses. Then I added digital offers. So I built things actually from the bottom up in terms of the flow of a funnel. And we can talk about that at some future point. But I want you to hear that not all of this was created in a single night or in a single year, right? Like, this was built over time. So I had a lot of the makings for what would be a successful, successful month, successful business, etc. So we were selling some of these smaller offers. And the reason I do that is to bring new people into my world, to give people easy yes to come into my world. And this is a process that I teach anytime I teach about offer stacking or tiered offers, is having like a small offer and then a signature offer and then a premium offer. And so I was selling what I teach, which was these smaller offers. And then I was also selling a new membership, the Magnetic Collective, which is for coaches, consultants who want to get to consistent 10 to 20K months. So that membership was on sale at the time, as well as my mastermind. Both those programs were starting in February, which was, so January into the first week of February was that period where I made 100K in 114 in Canadian dollars. And it makes sense because I had these two programs that were launching. And when programs are launching, there are a mix of people who buy on payment plans, which, by the way, when I say like 114 in sales, 113, whatever it was, that's cash that my bank account received. It does not include any booked out revenue. So if someone buys on a payment plan, I'm not including that in that number. I am, however, including anybody who paid in full. So that month we had people paying in full for both the membership, the Magnetic Collective. We had to pay in full for the mastermind. And so that boosted my revenue. I also sold a bunch of one-to-one coaching that month and had a pay in full in there as well. And when I sell one-to-one coaching, I am selling sometimes just as simple as a month. So back then, the rate for working with me privately was somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500 a month. And so we had some people purchase just 1 month of support in January. And then we had other people signing up for 6-month containers, which is typically how I work with people privately now, is in a longer term, 6-month mentor package. But I do these let's call them Kickstarter intensive, where you can work with me just for a single month to really get something going, maybe to work on your offer stacks. The other thing I was working on or selling at the time were these Voxer packages. So Voxer is an app that I use to communicate with clients. And rather than getting on, Zoom calls all the time, Voxer allows me to support my clients more on the go, at my leisure, at their leisure. And so I was also selling Voxer packages. Hey, coach, are you interested in healing your relationship with money? Do you want to completely upgrade your money mindset? I have a life-changing, game-changing, transformational, audio-only program called Money Magnet, which is designed to help you heal your relationship with money, upgrade your money mindset so that you can call in more, so that you can create more money, more sales, more revenue, more abundance in your life. If you're interested in Money Magnet, we will put the link to join that program inside the show notes. It is a completely audio program and you get immediate access to the entire thing. It is set up into 20 different days. You can binge the whole thing right away if you like, or you can spend the next few weeks listening to it. This is one of my #1 best-selling programs for changing your relationship, healing your relationship with money, and I'd love to see you in there. So just to summarize that from a offer or a funnel perspective, we have these digital offers at the top of my funnel as entry points for people to come into. And those are priced anywhere from $11 to $300, $400. So we were selling these digital passive offers. We were selling these masterclasses, which I was going to deliver live. And then after I have done a new masterclass, I will convert that into a digital offer, add it to my website so people can buy it after the fact. We were selling my membership, which started the following month. We were selling my mastermind, which also began the following month. And I was enrolling new one-to-one clients. Now, a few things I want to share about this. I was in this season of very much what I would call expanded energy. So I was willing to, I'm going to call it oversell. A lot of people hold themselves back in selling because they are afraid of taking on too much. They're afraid of burning out because maybe that's been a pattern before. That's been something that happened to them before. And this goes back to the earlier conversation about being afraid. Like the reason why people don't hit a goal or are afraid of going after a goal is because they're afraid of the byproduct of the goal. So they're afraid that if they sell a lot, they'll get burnt out, as an example. Well, I am a master. I have like a high level of emotional mastery. I know how to embrace my feelings. I am not afraid of feeling some kind of way. I know that if I were to oversell and have, let's call it, too many clients, it would actually just be an opportunity for me to clean up my boundaries, for me to clean up my standards, for me to clean up the behind the scenes, for me to automate things more. Like it would actually teach me a lesson. And so one of the things I say to people is like, create the problem and then you'll find a solution. And so I'm not afraid of problems. I'm not afraid of creating something that I'm going to have to clean up. Or I'm not afraid of like, okay, so maybe January I coached more people than I actually really want to. I mean, that's a good problem to have because it teaches me how many people I really want to coach. It teaches me to implement standards on Voxer so that I'm not on Voxer all day. It teaches me to remove too many calls from my calendar. It teaches me how to outsource to my team. It teaches me where there are gaps in my team. So I really look at everything as a growth opportunity. And I'm willing to stretch myself. And so for you, where are you holding yourself back because you're afraid of feeling some kind of way or you're afraid of being stretched? Y'all, being stretched is like absolutely the best thing we could do for ourselves. You want to stretch your capacity. You want to see who you are capable of becoming. And so along this way, along this journey, as I moved into, this incredible month, I was selling and I was just like, I just went for it. I mean, every day on Instagram stories, I was there. I was showing up. I was selling multiple offers at once. I was really directing people, okay, this is for you. If you want to kickstart your year, have a breakthrough year, come in to make bank, it's 333. If you want to get to consistent 10 to 20K months as a coach or consultant, come into the Magnetic Collective. If you're at 10 to 20K months already and you want to work with me in close proximity and you want mentorship, come inside my mastermind. Like, I was being very clear about my different offers. And that's something else, is people are afraid of exhausting their audience. People are afraid of selling too many things at once. Well, come on. When's the last time like you walked into Costco or Aritzia or the grocery store? Like, there is selection, people. We are intelligent human beings. Let us pick what we want to buy. And I see a lot of coaches who have bought into the narrative that, you should only have one offer, you should only do this one thing. And yes, there is power in being focused. There's power in being niched. And for someone like me, I'm an Enneagram 7. I'm a quick start. I'm a manifesting generator. That is literally like, I'll call it torture. And I don't mean to be dramatic, but that puts me inside this box. Telling me I can only sell one thing or I can only focus on one thing is not actually a good match for my frequency. I vibrate on a level that is more that is expanded the more I'm doing. And even just talking about this, I get sweaty. I get so excited. I'm like, I love selling multiple things at once. And so part of this is like, what works for you? What feels good for you? Where are you best in your flow and in your magic? For me, it is multiple offers. For you, it might be different. But so allowing yourself to tap into what is a good match for you. How do you like to sell? What makes you feel alive? Even what do you want to sell? None of this, what should you sell? Like, F off with that narrative. It's, what do you want to sell? What is going to make you so excited to jump out of your bed in the morning to sell and create? What are you energetically lit up to deliver in terms of the offers with your clients? What are the conversations you want to be having? What's at what level do you wish to operate? Okay, I'm like going in so many directions right now, but I just get so fired up and so excited when I think about what happens when we get behind, and when we get behind our magic, when we tune into how, like, what our own energetic blueprint is, and then we match the offers, the sales strategy, and the client attraction plan along with that. That is where the money is. That is where things shift. When all those pieces, which by the way, I teach in my programs, so send me a message if you want to work together. When all those pieces come together, that is when this like wheel starts turning and the engine of our business gets really lit on, when those pieces are all flowing and working together. The last thing I'll say about this is I love money. For sure, that is a true statement. I really, really do. And I hope you do as well. Personally, I hope you have this incredible, loving, open, expanded relationship with money. If you don't, by the way, you should totally check out my money mindset bundle or Money Magnet, which is an incredibly transformational program about money, healing your relationship with money, shifting into a more expanded state of being with money. There's a bundle for $11, and then there's also a larger program, which I highly recommend. So as much as I love money, when you go for a money goal, in my opinion, it also has to be about something other than the money. It has to be connected to you being the highest expression of your most creative self. It's about you being fully in your power, owning your brilliance, owning the value of your work, like tapping into your soul's energy and contemplating the question, like, what am I here to do? What am I here for? What was I put on this earth for in terms of what impact do I want to make? How do I want to share? How do I want to show up? Who do I want to help transform? Like, what is that energy? And I know I talk about energy a lot, but honestly, it's like when you connect the energy and what your soul is here to express, that's when the money flows. When you are connected to, wouldn't it be fun if, like, wouldn't it be fun if you just had the time of your life creating more money? Wouldn't it be fun if you just went at things and you sold the things you want to sell and you helped the people you want to help and you had the conversations you wanted to be having? And the money is the byproduct. We get it so twisted. And honestly, like the patriarch, the masculine energy, this top-down power over energy has taught us that when we have the money, then we'll be successful, then we'll be worthy, then we'll be enough, then we'll be XYZ, then we'll be confident, then we can blah, blah, blah. No, flip that on its head. When you are the highest expression of your soul's purpose, when you are tapped into your fire, when you own your power, when you plug into your brilliance, that is when the money will flow. This I know to be true. I really do. And or that's when it feels flowy. That's when it feels easeful. So many of my clients, after we've worked together, they're like, I am shocked at how easy it felt. Clients who go from making 5K a month to 15K a month, or 15K a month to 50K a month, or 50K a month to 100K a month. They're like, but it felt easeful. And I'm like, yes. And easeful is different than easy. And I'm not saying we don't do work. And I'm not saying this is sheer magic. I mean, it is a mix of like science and spirituality. And there's absolutely magic that happens in this world. But when we have this top-down approach, this like heavy approach, and we learn how to flip that on its head, and we come at it from light, joy, play, flow, divine, the God force. I call it the God force, not being religious. I just call it the God force. The God force is like Mama Universe. It's the energy that flows through all of us at all times. When we create from that place, that is when the money flows. So, dear one, that's a wrap on today's episode, all about how I created my first 100K month, #40 days. If you loved this episode, if you learned something from this episode, please feel free to screenshot it, share it in your stories, tag me on Instagram. I'm Beck_Keen. I'll have some things linked for you in the show notes. If you're curious about working together, I have a signature program called the Magnetic Collective, where I work with ambitious, visionary powerhouse coaches and consultants. It's for you if you are ready to really monetize your brilliance, get paid really well for your soul's work. We will work together to create consistent 10 to 20K months. This is really the foundation. Like, this is the foundation, which then we amplify. So I really like to get people to this like consistent, even 10K is, I'll say low. Obviously 10K is amazing, but it's also like what I would call a low goal. So like, let's stretch that to 20. When you go for something, I know I was trying to like wrap this episode up and here I am, but when you go for a 20K month, you're more likely to hit the 10K. And so we do talk about stretch goals. Anyway, if you want to hit consistent 10 to 20K months, the Magnetic Collective is the program where I support coaches and consultants who want to do just that. We work on creating clients, offers that you are simply obsessed with, doing the inner work to upgrade your mindset and to help you step into a whole new level of identity. Okay, that's a wrap on today. We will see you in the next